This is Periel Delf coming at you live from the Hustlers Corner New York City. Today we're with our dedicated co-host, Jeanette Davis.
Hello. Hello.
And we're with Sandy Freese. Say hello, Sandy.
Hi.
And we're with our distinguished guest, Tony Viola.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for a chance to be on your show.
I want to get started right away by saying that we read as much as we possibly could. And for what we read so far, I was like, wow, what the hell happened? First thing we want to talk to you about, we want to give you the platform and let you share your story on, your humble beginnings, where you grew up. I know you were Catholic and you grew up in the church and you started your own business and it involved real estate, but this particular one involved no money down techniques. And the result was this nightmare that you ended up facing that's putting you through the feds. So we want to give you the platform, let you share your story, start from the beginning. The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody, and thanks again for the opportunity to be on the show. So my name's Tony Viola. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm from a huge Italian family, and we started buying and selling houses. And that business morphed into a sales and marketing organization. There were other investors and people in Cleveland that had more money than we did, but our salesmanship and our property management and construction skills sort of came together, and it morphed into a company that we grew and built in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And to fast forward, 15 years, we had 7 offices. We had over 100 sales and marketing professionals in our company, a beautiful corporate office in downtown Cleveland. We started in very humble circumstances, literally in the basement of my house and in a tiny building in a part of Cleveland called Collinwood. Ended up growing the business and attracting a lot of great colleagues. Of course, any business owner will tell you that you're only as good as your team. You can't do everything yourself. And I was very fortunate. Great sales team, great website, a lot of good customers, and we built a business. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, the answer is I'm very fortunate, and I was very grateful. And hopefully, I think people would confirm this. You could welcome to talk to any of our colleagues. Ran an honest business and watched people make money in real estate and help people make money in real estate. In America, the way to create wealth is to own stuff. Stocks, bonds, businesses, assets. And so our mission was to help people that were renting become homeowners and who had property to build more properties. And so we were a hands-on real estate company offering construction, property management, real estate auctions. And before the government ruined everything we worked for, we had, through a lot of hard work and ups and downs along the way, finally made our company successful in one of the largest independent real estate brokerage firms in Ohio.
Okay. Now, the name of that brokerage firm, it was called?
Yeah. The real estate company was called Realty Corporation of America.
Okay.
And the government thought that I owned mortgage and title companies that I didn't actually own. Uh-huh. And so to me, this was crazy. So to fast forward one day, in December of 2008, there are FBI agents and police in our office running around with guns looking for mortgage files. We are not a mortgage company. And so we didn't have mortgage files in our office, and I didn't submit mortgage loans. Our company worked with mortgage companies because we were selling property and people need to get financing, but I never owned mortgage companies. And I was indicted in both state and federal court by a multi-jurisdictional task force on charges that I stole $46 million. I orchestrated and devised, according to the government, the nation's largest mortgage fraud scheme. And I siphoned off these $46 million for myself. Mm-hmm. And the raid came as a total shock. I had no criminal history. Honestly, if the prosecutor's office had called, I would have made all of our records and information available, but they wanted to have a live breaking news SWAT team raid the company. They loved the publicity. They had multiple press releases, multiple press conferences. So I'm indicted in both state and federal court, same charges, same time by this task force. And when we read the indictment, I'm absolutely shocked that the United States attorney in Cleveland, the prosecutor named Mark Bennett, and the state prosecutor, Dan Caceres, they did not know what companies I owned. This is just a basic simple fact. And so I hired an attorney, and we asked to go down to the local prosecutor's office. But Dan Caceres said, no, we don't meet with targets. You're a target of the investigation. Mm-hmm. So my case was fundamentally flawed from the beginning because I didn't steal 46 million bucks, and I did not own these mortgage companies. And I was not, when you're charged with a crime, there's a certain date and a certain time. And there was a loan that this Transcontinental did with this government witness called Catherine Clover. And we had nothing to do with it and didn't get money from that and didn't own Family Title Services. So my initial thought was, well, this is America. This will be straightened out. We're going to go down there. I presumed fairness on the part of the prosecutors. They were destroying our reputation through these media leaks and press conferences, but I still felt at that time that we could go down and explain things. They didn't want to hear it. So our attorney, our accountant, they didn't want to allow us to come down and go through and explain why these charges were false. And basically, this was a time when people were angry. There was a financial crisis. There were foreclosures, and the government said, hey, the reason your house went down in value, or the reason there's these problems, is this crooked Tony guy over here. And the case basically was that I tricked, through the scam, JP Morgan and Citibank and these other large banks into making no money down loans. And I really have to say, I thought the whole thing was ridiculous and it would work out. I couldn't believe that anybody would believe that a bank was tricked by a realtor into making loans. And so I refused to plead guilty. There was great pressure to plead guilty. I refused to do it. But the media circus locked the government into a false narrative. And it turned out later, and if anyone wants to know, what is a prosecutor willing to do? What is a Justice Department employee? What are they willing to do to win a case? You should look at my case, because what happened was, just to fast forward, a whistleblower inside the prosecutor's office provided me evidence and information that was hidden before the first trial. I was exonerated at a second trial, and all of the evidence and information we have that's on our website that you guys were pouring over means that nobody has to take my word for it. You can read the government's own documents. I mean, we prove my innocence with the government's own documents. We prove misconduct with the government's own documents. We proved a romantic relationship between a prosecutor, Caceres, and this government witness, Clover, with their own emails between each other. And I'm not going to repeat what they said because it's pretty salacious, but the fact your listeners and viewers can read it for themselves. But we proved criminal activity by the United States Attorney in Cleveland, the best way to do it with their own documents and their own records and their own statements.
Yeah, Tony, can you go back to the day of the raid? Because it's my understanding you were across town in a meeting, received a phone call from the office saying there was a raid going on, and you rushed back to the office. Tell us a little bit about that. They destroyed your office. You asked to speak to an attorney, and you and your entire staff was forced by gunpoint into a back room after being denied the opportunity to contact your attorney.
Right. I mean, this is really, I wouldn't wish what happened on anybody. And to see the government, our country, doing this to its own citizens is crazy. And this task force that went after me, they did this to about 1,100 other people. And by the way, our goal is to get all these cases reopened and thrown out. But anyway, the media circus is something that the government loves. The prosecutors really just couldn't get enough of it. We represented condo developers, and I was in a meeting and we were talking about a new website and new floor plans. And the ladies in my office kept calling my cell phone, and I knew something was up because they'd never called me in a meeting. They knew where I was, and they said, the police are here. Well, I thought when they said the police were here, I thought, God forbid, maybe something bad happened to one of our colleagues, or, did someone get hurt? There was assaults in parking garage. I was like, oh, God forbid, what is going on? And they said, no, they're taking our computers. I'm like, what? So I raced downtown to our office. FBI agent Jeff Kassouf has got, they've got guns drawn, and they're running around our office looking for mortgage files. And I told them that we're not a mortgage company and we don't have any mortgage files. Well, this is not what they want to hear. They told me to shut up, that I was making it hard on myself, that they knew that there were mortgage files, that I was hiding mortgage files. And they ushered us into a back room and at gunpoint and made us sit there while they, basically ransacked our office. The door is always open at our company, right? Because we want customers to come in, but they closed the door, propped it closed, and then broke it down for better television. So this was called the nation's largest mortgage fraud scheme. You had national and local news media broadcasting it live, and police and prosecutors reveling in the destruction of our company. We're just a bunch of realtors having blueberry muffins and coffee. We're not exactly a danger to society, but they locked themselves in right from the beginning into a false narrative. And this is one of the things in law enforcement that has to change. Once they said that I owned a mortgage company and I was involved in mortgages, they were not willing under any circumstances to veer from what they said that first day. And they later destroyed evidence that proved my innocence and that I didn't own these companies. But it was scary to be there. And I was sitting in this room and I put my head in my hands and I just said to myself, we never can recover, because people are going to, even if we're innocent and we prove it later, everyone's going to think I'm a crook. And all the years that we spent building our company and working hard to satisfy customers and growing our team, to build a company, it's a million little things, right? Add a website, buy a computer, assemble it, have a new office, get a new license for our new building in Florida. I mean, all these things we were doing, I just put my head in my hands and I just said that everything I've worked for my entire life has just been destroyed, including our reputation, which had been very good up to that point. And I felt a great sense of responsibility because all these employees were making a living working for us, and I was the target of these multiple indictments. And so I basically became physically ill over everything, and just awful.
Can I share something with you on that?
Sir.
I have got to say, you're 110% correct when it comes to that stigma of being, the bad guy. We had guests on our show who have been exonerated for crimes that they did not commit, but they still have a felonious record, which prevents them from getting jobs. They can't get a job.
Right.
I myself, and as far as facing the barrel of the gun, here in New York where I live, one time the cops bust in here and for something that somebody else that lived here has done. And it has nothing to do with me, but here I'm hearing this banging on my door, boom, 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 boom. Cops, open up. I open up and there's this barrel of gun right in my face. I'm like, wow, what the? So believe me, I know how traumatic that is and I know how that feels. Now, I wanted to ask you though, did you ever lend any money to anyone? Did you ever make an arrangement in which anybody would get funds from you or any property as a result of any property? Did that ever happen?
No, we are real estate salespeople like a Remax or a Keller Williams or SL Green, I think, in New York City. I mean, we are licensed real estate brokers. Now, we accepted earnest money deposits, and if we managed properties, which we did sometimes, we would sometimes collect rents. But did we make loans? No, I never loaned anybody any money, and I never borrowed any money. And I never did any business with the government. By the way, we specifically, Cleveland is very corrupt. There's a lot of corruption in Cuyahoga County. We stayed out of all of that. We built our business by servicing members of the public and working hard to sell houses, lease office space, lease apartment buildings for private owners. We did not get government funding. We did not loan money, and I never borrowed money. We kept our overhead very low, and I didn't even have a car payment at that time, for heaven's sakes. So the notion that I tricked JP Morgan into making these loans, I mean, I thought the whole thing was preposterous. I mean, for example, if you owe a bank $85 on a credit card and you don't pay it, they're calling you, right? Yeah. If you're behind on one car payment for $500, they're calling you. But I stole $46 million and nobody said anything. Nobody sued me. Nobody called the Better Business Bureau. Nobody said, don't do business with this Tony guy. He stole $46 million. So the government concocted a theory that was not anything that these supposed victim banks were even alleging themselves. So this is a tremendous misuse of government power. The threat to the American people is not the Chinese Communist Party or whatever, or Vladimir Putin. The threat is the misuse of power by these police and prosecutors. Now, do we need some police and some? Yes, but this is ridiculous. First of all, my case, if anything, would be a business dispute, not even necessarily a criminal activity, but the supposed victim didn't even make any issues. I had them on the stand at the second trial, and which I did myself, by the way, and I said, did you ever call the police? No. Then did you lose any money? No. So the government is saying that I caused these $46 million of losses, which I have. By the way, my bond was zero. Sign here. I'm arrested. It's CNN is there, breaking news. And then they said, well, Tony, if you just sign this piece of paper, you can leave. I thought I stole $46 million. No, just you have to come to court in 6 weeks. And then they didn't even take my real estate license away so we could continue to sell real estate. My lawyer said, oh, no, you're presumed innocent. Just like you said, Mr. Duff, presumed innocent. Not in the business world. Everyone thinks I stole all this money and then I'm a crook. So anyway, the government's use of authority and power is frightening. It's unchecked in this country. And what's going on is wrong, not necessarily what they did to me, which is done, and there's nothing I can do about the last 15 years of my life. But what we can do is work together to stop this from happening, because it is not appropriate for the government to be doing this. If they would have sent a subpoena and asked for records, we would have given them all of the records, and they could have figured out for themselves or satisfied themselves that we were not involved in mortgage fraud and I didn't have $46 million. But these simple basic facts went by the wayside in this enthusiasm to draw guns and have the SWAT team and wear SWAT gear and have breaking news press conferences and break into the Price is Right or whatever was on TV at the time when they were raiding our office. And these prosecutors loved it. The most dangerous place in America was probably between the federal prosecutor, Mark Bennett, and a TV camera, because these prosecutors reveled in it. They loved it. When I was convicted at the first trial, they were high-fiving each other and backslapping Stephen Dettelbach, the U.S. attorney. You'd have thought that the Cleveland Browns won the Super Bowl or something. I've never seen happier people. I'm going to jail for 15 years, and these people are ecstatic, fist-bumping, thrilled, hugging. In their world, this makes sense, but this is not an appropriate use of government power, and we need to change our country.
Amen. I agree 100%. And the fact that they also had all this evidence that could have proven your innocence, but they destroyed it, and they were not ethical individuals. They could have said, we have evidence. We know this is not the individual that did this, but they kept it because they got a conviction and they weren't about to let it go.
This concludes this session with the Hustlers Corner New York City. We just want to say thank you for taking the time to join us today. If you are a person who has been wrongfully convicted of a crime you didn't commit and you're free now, come share your story on the Hustlers Corner New York City Victims of the System series. If you are a person that is self-reformed and active in the community, enacting positive change within the community, come share your story on the Hustlers Corner New York City Legends of the Hood series. If you are a Black-owned business and you want to share your story about your business and about how you built it from the ground up and about your products, come share your story on the Hustlers Corner New York City Black Business Movement series. If you are a up-and-coming artist, hip-hop, rap artist, performing artist, and you'd like to share your story, come share your story on the Hustlers Corner New York City on the Grind series. If you are a woman who's been through traumatic times, if you'd like to share your story of success and triumph, come share your story on the Hustlers Corner New York City Lipstick Story series. And be on the lookout now for our new Rage page, in which we talk about current events that are affecting everyone within and without the community. So again, I just want to say thank you so much. And as always, please do us that big favor, show your love. Like, share, don't forget to leave a comment, and most of all, subscribe. This is Perry L. Duff coming at you live from the Hustlers Corner New York City.